What's up, everybody? This is Mario, and today I want to start with the letter E, the first letter in my Endure framework. So, as you may or may not know, one of my mentors, Russell Brunson, was the one who gave me the challenge to publish every single day for a year. And what he talks about is he says the main reason to do that, to publish every single day, is to find your voice. And so I'm kind of starting off in this journey of creating a business, creating products, and I really understand the importance of finding my voice. So when I heard that, I committed to it and I started to go down that track. And at the beginning, there was definitely some fear. There was definitely some uncertainties, but I had started off and I had started to publish about 7 or 8 different podcasts in a row. And I was feeling really good until Russell put out a recent podcast where he talks about how he kind of got it wrong with the publish every single day for a year. So in that new episode, he talks about how it's important to not just publish every day just to publish, but it's more important to define your framework first, and then you talk about that. So what he recommends is that you find your framework first and then you find your voice. And so for those of you who don't know what a framework is, it's a specific process that you need to follow in order to get a specific result. So it was, if you can imagine, I was heading down this track. I had a little bit of fear. I got started. I started to feel really good about it. And then all of a sudden, I felt like the rug was pulled out from under me and I had to adjust course. But I've kept up with the publishing, I've kept up with the podcasting, but I've been thinking a lot about that framework and how do I narrow my focus down into a framework and how can I actually distill everything that I've learned about endurance, about personal growth, about triathlons. How can I distill that down into a framework that I can easily share and talk about with other people? So I want to start to share that process with you. So I've been thinking a lot about that. And first I want to describe the process that I went through to end up at this framework. And so what I did first is I thought about what result am I trying to help people achieve? What result am I trying to help you achieve? And so for me, the first kind of easy answer and the first easy thing that came to mind is the result is I'm trying to help people complete an endurance event. But to me, that's only part of it because I think it's so much more than that. To me, it's all about using the lessons that you learn in training and in competing and completing an endurance event. And then it's all about applying that to every area of your life. So for me, the actual result that I'm going after is to help people complete endurance events like triathlons or marathons or whatever it is so that they can become the best version of themselves. That's what I want for you, is to use this race, use this goal or this event that you have to challenge you to become the best version of yourself. And so then now that I have kind of that result defined, I thought about what are all of the possible steps that people need to take and complete in order to get that result. And then once I listed out all of those steps, I basically tried to group it together in a memorable way. And so with that background in place, today and right now, I want to share the name of my 6-step framework. And then each day this week, I'm going to talk through one part of that framework in one step. So here we go. Are you ready for it? So I want to introduce my Endure framework, a 6-step process for achieving success in endurance and life. So it's called Endure. And so let's start with the first letter E. To me, step 1 in anything in life, if you're trying to be successful in a race or an event or any sort of goal that you have, it's all about envisioning future success. So the E stands for Envision Future Success. So to me, with anything you're trying to achieve, it all starts with a dream and identifying what is it that you want to accomplish and who you want to become in the future. So a few questions. What do you want your life to look like in 5 or 10 years, or by the end of this year or next year? What are some of your biggest goals and dreams? More specifically, why do you want to do a half Ironman or a full Ironman? Who are you doing this for? So if you can't answer those questions right now, don't worry. There's going to be some exercises that you can do to help you seek that clarity. Because to me, with envisioning future success, that comes down to a couple of different sub-steps. The first is getting clarity. The second one is visualizing success. And then the third part of that is to make your goals visible. So first with clarity. According to dictionary.com, clarity is the quality or state of being clear. And clear is defined as bright, luminous, cloudless, and free from mist, haze, or dust. So you have to get clear about who you want to become and what you want to accomplish in life. And once you have that, all of the second guessing of should I do this, should I not do this, that part just disappears. Because to me, the mist, haze, or dust from that definition of above it's indicative of all the other stresses that we have in our life. And it represents our doubts, our fears, and our limiting beliefs. And this idea of the importance of seeking clarity from the very beginning is incredibly important. And it's actually supported by some research that Brendan Burchard, who is the world's highest paid performance coach, he conducted one of the largest surveys ever conducted on high performers. And they discovered that 6 habits that move the needle the most in helping people succeed. And the first habit from that study was seeking clarity. And so those high performers, they're clear on their intentions for themselves, their social world, their skills, and their service to others. So clarity is critical. And it's the most important thing. And it's the kind of that first step of envisioning future success. So how do you generate clarity? That's probably a question that you might have. And you might be thinking, I don't have a lot of clarity for what I want to accomplish in 5 years or 10 years or in 1 year. But clarity is something that can be generated with a series of prompts and practices. And to me, it doesn't happen kind of in a flash. You really need to spend some time going through these exercises, thinking to yourself, experimenting, trying new things, and repeating this process over and over and over again. But one of the best ways to do this, I think, is to think about the different areas of your life. Think about your family, your friends, your health, your relationship, your mission, your finances, the area of adventure, spirituality, and to write a story of what a day in the life looks like 5 or 10 years in the future, and actually write it out from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. And this is an exercise that I actually heard on a Tim Ferriss podcast with titled How to Design a Life with Debbie Millman. And here's how the exercise works. I'm just actually going to quote Debbie from that podcast episode. So she says, so let's say it's 5 years from now. What does your life look like? What are you doing? Where are you living? Who are you living with? Do you have pets? What kind of house are you in? Is it an apartment in the city? Are you in the country? What does your furniture look like? What does your bed look like? What are your sheets like? What kind of clothes do you wear? What kind of hair do you have? Tell me about your pets. Tell me about your significant other. Do you have children? Do you have a car? Do you have a boat? Talk about your career. What do you want? What are you reading? What are you making? What excites you? What is your health like? And write this day, this one day 10 years from now. So one day in the winter of 2030, what does your whole day look like? Start from the minute you wake up, brush your teeth, have your tea or coffee, all the way through until the minute you tuck yourself in at night. What is that day like for you? Dream big, dream without any fear. Write it all down. You don't have to share it with anyone other than yourself. Put your whole heart into it and write like there is no tomorrow. Write like your life depends on it, because it does. And then read it once a year and see what happens. It's magic. So this is just a good exercise to write your story in the future and go into very precise detail from the time that you wake up to the time that you go to bed, and play through, all of those key areas, and really try and use this exercise as a way to generate clarity. So if you want to do this right now, you could kind of pause the episode, but just put your phone on do not disturb or put it on airplane mode, set the timer for 15 minutes, write the current date, and add 5 or 10 years. And you can also do 1 year, whatever that time frame is that you're looking for. And then just start writing out that story of what you want your life to look like. That to me is one of the first steps and one of the most important things when you want to envision that future success, is you want to start with clarity. And in that exercise, you're going to be identifying what you want your life to look like overall in all of those different areas, in your health, in your family, in your relationships, all of those different areas. Now, the next step, once you get clarity and you understand what you want to accomplish, it's time to visualize success specifically in one of those areas. So visualization, this is the next part. So just kind of generally speaking, visualization is the process of creating a mental image or intention of what you want to happen or feel in reality. So athletes and Olympians, they use this technique a lot to intend an outcome of a race or a training session, or simply to rest in a relaxed feeling of calm and well-being. And when athletes visualize or imagine a successful competition, they actually stimulate the same brain regions as you do when you physically perform that same action. I'm just going to say that again because it's crazy to me. When athletes visualize or imagine a successful competition, they actually stimulate the same brain regions as you do when you physically perform that same action. And if you're skeptical, there's been a lot of studies that have shown this and shown the benefits of visualization. So let's say in my story that I was writing out in the previous exercise, I said that, in 5 years, I want to have a family. I want to, have this amazing job. I want to complete an Ironman or different races like that. When it comes to visualization, we would choose one of those areas. And in this case, we could choose that race, and we could talk about what is it going to feel like and what is it going to be like when I cross the finish line. So we're choosing the one specific area of health, and we're choosing the race, and we're going to visualize what is it going to feel like to cross the finish line and train for that race. So when you're doing visualizations, there's a couple of important keys that you want to have, and I want to walk through those next. So the first thing is you want to set up your environment the right way. So you want to make sure that you're in a kind of a quiet space where you will not be distracted, and maybe put on some soft music. Next, you're going to want to visualize the outcome that you want. So when you're mentally rehearsing your performance in your head, make sure that you see that event exactly how you want it to unfold. So see yourself achieving exactly what you want and being confident in the process. And then once you have mastered that, you can also practice visualizing how you're going to overcome obstacles that may appear and may present themselves. And what you want to do next step is you want to visualize and make sure that you're doing it from a first person perspective. So pretend that you're there, that you're at the race. See yourself going through the water, swimming. See yourself jumping on that bike and pedaling as fast as you can, climbing up the hills, going down as fast as you can. Feel the wind on your cheeks and blowing through your hair. Feel the sweat coming down your forehead. You really want to visualize it from a first person perspective, and you want to make it specific. So visualize that performance in detail. What are the things that you're seeing? What are the things that you're hearing? The things that you're feeling, smelling, tasting? You're going to want to feel how your body would feel as if you're going through the motions of that performance. And you really want to feel the excitement of successfully fulfilling that performance goal. So that's where you want to feel and envision, what is it going to feel like when you cross that finish line, when you're hugging your family members after the race. You really want to be as specific as possible. And then the last step to the visualization is to just practice this frequently. This isn't something that you just do once and then you master it right away. You want to be consistent. So the biggest benefits that come from this come when you do it repeatedly. So those are kind of the first two steps of the first of Envision. So it's all about seeking clarity, writing out that future story. Then next, it's choosing one specific area and it's visualizing success using those steps that I just laid out. And if you do those two things, then it's going to be much easier to take the necessary actions that you need to take when the correct situation arises. So at this point, we have gotten clarity on who you want to become and what you want to accomplish. We've chosen one of those specific areas and we've visualized what success looks like. Now, what's that next step? One of the next steps that we need to do is we need to write down our goals or we want to make them visible. So this can be a number of different ways that we can do this. You can print out that story that you wrote. You can write down your goals and print those out and put them in your car, put them in a bathroom mirror, or you can combine the images and the pictures of that story and you can create a vision board and have that front and center in a room so that you have those images that remind you of who you want to become, what your goals are, and what your life would look like once you've achieved it. So this is a critical step because we've gotten clarity through doing the necessary exercises. We're starting to visualize what that success looks like. And then we need to be reminded of that on a frequent basis. And that's where that third step of making your goals and your future life, ideal life, as visible as possible. So these images and having them visible, those are going to serve as reminders. They're going to serve as motivators, and it's going to be your daily inspiration for the daily action and consistency that's needed. So there you go. So that's my first step in the Endure framework, and the E stands for Envision Future Success. I believe that's the first step in being successful at anything you want in life. And it's just a short little intro to the letter E in the Endure framework. So just to recap, you want to get clarity on what you want your life to look like, visualize success using those keys that I laid out, and then write down your goals and make them visible. So that's what I have for today. I hope that was helpful. Come back tomorrow for the second step in the Endure framework that starts with the letter N. So I'll see you all tomorrow.